listeners. Welcome to Grief Out Loud. Remember the last time you tried to talk about grief and suddenly everybody left the room? Grief Out Loud is opening up this often avoided conversation because grief is hard enough without having to go through it alone. We bring you a mix of personal stories, tips for supporting children, teens, and yourself, and interviews with professionals in the grief world. Platitude and cliche-free, we promise. Grief Out Loud is hosted by me, Jana DeCristofaro, and produced by the Dougy Center for Grieving Children and Families in Portland, Oregon. Is it just me, or is the advertising slam that usually happens just before Mother's Day a little less intense this year? Ads for buying flowers, jewelry, and treating mom right have been replaced by articles about coronavirus and ads for face masks. It's not really the greatest trade-off. Mother's Day is happening soon here in the U.S. on Sunday, May 10th, and it's a holiday that's complex under the best of circumstances. Even if no one has died, there can be many layers for many people. Conflicted relationships, infertility, mental health challenges, substance use. There's so many factors that complicate our relationship to this day and to the concept of mother, motherhood, and mothering. There's also the fact that both Mother's Day and Father's Day are extremely gendered and don't make space for non-binary folks and others who don't identify with one of those terms. Add in grief, and well, listeners, I don't have to tell you how bumpy and rough the emotional landscape can get around this holiday. It's bumpy for children of all ages who are grieving the death of a parent, or parents grieving the death of children, including those who lived only in their hopes and their dreams. For siblings wanting to support their grieving parent, for widowed parents wanting to support their children. Basically for anyone and everyone grieving the idea of what it means to be supported and nurtured. It's one day out of the year, it's 24 hours, but the significance of this day is so much more than that. I'm also thinking of how racial bias and inequity in healthcare has led to higher rates of women of color experiencing miscarriages, stillbirths, and also dying during childbirth. And this results in disproportionate numbers of people in communities of color carrying grief into this holiday. In the current circumstance of the coronavirus, I'm thinking of people who are facing their first Mother's Day without their person and struggling to figure out what to do in the face of so many social and physical restrictions. I'm also thinking of those of you who have well-established traditions for this day and can't do what you would normally do because of those same restrictions. Today's guest, Chloe, is a high school junior coming up on the third Mother's Day since her mother, Danielle, died of colon cancer in June of 2017. Chloe, who is 17, was 13 when her mother was first diagnosed and 14 when she died. If this story is starting to sound familiar, it's because I talked with Paige, Chloe's stepmother, back in episode 143. If you missed that one, be sure to go back and listen. Chloe and I talk about Mother's Day and what it's like to honor her mom who died, while also celebrating Paige's role as another mother in her life. Chloe, thank you so much for being part of Grief Out Loud today.
Oh, no problem. I'm extremely excited to have this opportunity. I've never have had an opportunity where I can talk about my personal experiences.
Well, I'm just really grateful for your willingness to be on the show. And listeners, also, right next to Chloe is her cat, Luna. So if you do hear any purring or meowing or anything during the recording, that's just Luna trying to be part of the conversation. So, Chloe, we are, today's the last day of April 30th, 2020. We're I don't know how long we're into this pandemic, 2 months, 2.5 months. And you're a junior, finishing up your junior year in high school. And just briefly, what's coming up for you in your grief around this time, if anything?
Well, mainly it's upsetting because you can't go out, and we're put in this situation where we have to adapt, and we don't have time to prepare because nobody saw us coming. During this time, you realize not how alone you are, but how you can't really go out and live your life. It has to be put on hold for a minute. My friends, I'm missing them. I miss school in general because it gave you time to be social, and then you were actually able to interact with the teachers if you didn't understand assignments, because now we have to do online school.
So a lot of things that feel out of your control and you don't have a lot of choice around, which
Mhm.
to me sounds so similar to how a lot of people can respond when someone in our life dies, that it's out of our control and we don't have any choice. And things can feel really kind of unpredictable in that way. The other thing going on at this time, because we are just about to hit May, is Mother's Day is coming up. And
Mhm.
that's one of those holidays in grief that can just have a lot of weight and intensity to it. And I'm curious for you, like, how did you used to spend the holiday with your mom, and how has it changed for you now?
We like every single year we do the exact same thing, and we would always like either go to a park or a pier, or we'd go like to a playground. Especially whenever my little sister came along, she we would always go to the playground, and my mom always had like these. She called it like her signature snack, and she would have like these little wheat thins, and she would microwave like cheese on top of them, and she would slice tomatoes and put them on top. So it was like this cute little hors d'oeuvre. But and then we would come home and we would watch like Will and Grace because that was like her favorite show. Live in her legacy. I mean, we still do the same things. Like we watch Will and Grace, and we make the little hors d'oeuvres, and then we instead of like sometimes we go to the park or pier, but we get like balloons, and like we write like notes on them, like we love you and we miss you, or like sometimes like I write like what's going on in my life or what I wish I could tell her, and we would like release them around sunset in our driveway or whatever, and they would just like my little sister, she was really young whenever my mom passed, so she never really experienced the whole one-on-one Mother's Day with her. So whenever we do it, she is really emotional. But yeah, we basically celebrate the same that we did whenever she was alive.
What's the day like for you? You mentioned that for your younger sister, Olivia, she gets really emotional because she didn't have a lot of in person time with your mom before she died. How does the day feel for you?
Well, the day for me, it's different, but it's not different at the same time. It's like I grieve on that day, like I'm upset and everything, because like I wish I was spending the day with her, but it's been almost like 3 years, and like you'll never like forget like your memories with your parents or like with your loved ones, but like kind of having them like their presence around you like over time, like just for me personally, like I kind of forgot what it felt like.
Hmm.
I know I'm missing her, but I can't really recall like what it would feel like if she was with me right there in that moment. So for me, it's more of like I'm upset because like I wish I could spend the day with her, but at the same time I kind of forgot what it was like to spend the day with her. You can't really like bring back old memories, but you also can't relive them. You can't really after a while feel the same.
Yeah, it's almost that idea that you can recall the memories, right? Like, you know, your mom loved Will and Grace, and you can remember watching that show with her. You can remember her making her favorite snack and eating that with her, but you can't really like feel what it was like to be with her.
Exactly. It's because you get used to like her not being around for so long that you just kind of forgot what it felt like.
And you have another aspect of your personal story where you have a stepmom, Paige, who listeners, you might be thinking like, oh, this sounds familiar because I interviewed Paige a few episodes ago. So we heard about it from her perspective of being your step parent, your stepmom. And what is it like for you? Like, your mom, Danielle, is no longer here. You honor her on Mother's Day. Is there a way that you also celebrate Paige as being in a mothering role for you?
Oh, most definitely. Like I met Paige right around my mom getting sick. It was like right after she got diagnosed. She's not like my biological mother, but she has a huge mother role on me and Olivia. But we on Mother's Day, we this Mother's Day she has to work, but normally we go out for walks, or we go and we get go to the store and get like flowers for her, or me and my dad will go to well, it's closed now, but Hallmark. We're gonna get like a nice card and chocolate and stuff like that, and we'll like watch movies. And I'm grateful for everything that Paige has done, because like her coming into like our situation, knowing what we were going through at the time, and she like stayed and like was a huge encouragement and was like very uplifting. So she is a big like motherly role.
I've talked with some other teens who, when they do have other parents who come into their life as like a step parent or partner
Hmm.
of their parent, there can be this tension of like I want to connect with this person, but then I also feel like maybe I'm betraying my parent who died. Has that been a part of your experience at all? Like maybe feeling guilty or
I have felt guilty at some points, like feeling like I'm connecting to her like I like used to connect to my mom, and I felt like that was like unfair for her because I felt like she should have been in that situation, and me and her should have been the one that were like making all these memories and stuff. Because you don't really realize like until your parent is gone, especially like whenever you're in high school, you don't realize all the moments that you wish your parents were there for, prom or homecoming. And I feel like my mom personally would not want anybody else except for Paige to fill her position.
it seems too like you have the sense that your mom would like quote unquote approve of Paige.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that my mom wouldn't want anybody else in my life or anybody else in Paige's shoes except for her.
And we know your mom liked Will and Grace. We know about her favorite snack. Like what else would you want the world to know about your mom, Danielle?
Like some people say like their parents were like one of a kind, but like my mom was like she was not afraid to be herself. It doesn't matter where we were, if we were in the car or if we were in a grocery store or a restaurant, like she was always herself. And she was just really funny, and she used to do this thing whenever like we were in a grocery store, and if her favorite song would come on, it didn't matter who was in the aisle, she'd like start like grabbing stuff off the shelves and dance with it. She used to be, or she was a ballet dancer, and she used to like dance with the cereal or something while she's walking down the aisle. She was very prideful. Like she was not afraid to stand up for what she believed in. She always loved and cared for you. It didn't matter what was going on, and she was like very outgoing.
Hmm.
She had a lot of friends. So like some nights, like her friends would come over, and like I was friends with her friends because her friends were like childhood friends, and like they were around since I was born. So we all kind of like grew up together because my mom had me at such a young age. So like I feel like it was kind of a good like it was a good experience to have, especially like me not knowing like from the beginning like this was going to be the outcome, like her passing away. But like with me and her growing up together, I do feel like we've had like these moments that are just like so special and like one of a kind. And if your parent had you like in their like 40s or something, like you wouldn't feel that same way because your parents are already like grown.
And you were 13 when she was first diagnosed with cancer and she died when you were 14. What do you remember about finding out about her illness and like how that experience was for you during treatment?
I remember from the very beginning, like whenever she first started getting sick, I think I was like 11 maybe, and they first diagnosed her with Crohn's disease. And then like later on, like 2 years later, they found out it was colon cancer. And I remember I wasn't there the day that she got diagnosed with it, but I was like there the next day. And I just remember like from then on out, like me and her would used to always go like to like her doctor's appointments together. I used to always like she used to always let me like skip school to go with her to her doctor's appointments. She had to get chemo, and I remember her sitting like in these chairs, and the nurses were extremely nice, and they like hooked her up to like this IV thing. At that time, I didn't think of like anything differently. I felt like it was normal, but for like someone being that young and thinking like seeing their mom like that was normal was just like a weird circumstance that you had to come like that you had to make knowledge of, like especially me being older now.
Like it was just what was happening.
Yeah, and like you just and like at that point, like I thought that was normal, but like now that I'm grown, it was kind of like sad seeing that like my childhood being like kind of like that was my normal. Because I used to go like with her like once a week to her doctors. She went multiple 2 3 times a week, but I used to go like once a week with her because I couldn't miss that much school.
Do you have a sense? I know it's been a few years of what helped you during that time when your mom was going through treatment, like from the other adults in your life or from people at school, or maybe what didn't help, what you needed that you didn't get?
I remember like at the time, one of my teachers, she was extremely helpful. She was my seventh grade science teacher, and she was like extremely sincere. Like she knew everything that was going on, and she was like the I don't think she's the only teacher that knew, but she was the only one that would like talk to me about it and ask me like how I was feeling. Like she was the only one that like went out of her way to make sure I was okay. And I have like this lifelong best friend, known her since birth. Like during that time period, she was always there for me because like my mom was like her other mom. So we were always there for each other, and anytime like I was upset or needed to talk, like I would go to her, and same with her because she wasn't going through the exact same thing I was going through, but she was hurting too. And like a couple of my mom's friends that I'm really close with, they would reach out to me and like take me out to lunch, and we would talk about it. We would just ask how we were feeling, and basically how to like at the time get through it.
So you had a number of people who were able to reach out and really make that emotional connection with you. Who was it the hardest to talk to?
I think the hardest it was to talk to, like the person who was the hardest for me to talk to was probably my dad. Me and my dad have a really good relationship, but me and him never like have an emotional relationship, if that makes sense. Like I never really talked to him about like my feelings. I mean, we still haven't even opened up completely about my mom. Like we still haven't even had like a sit down conversation and talk about like how he felt in that time frame, because I don't know, it's just like the whole time it was going on, like he was very quiet, which is like understanding because like they had like a life together, and I know it was hard for him, but I would normally talk to like if I had like at the time, because me and Paige were like still getting to know each other. If I had to, I talked to Paige. But me and my dad, it was the hardest to talk to him about it because like he would never really be open. I feel like it hurt him, and he just didn't want me to see him like hurt because like he's the dad, like he's supposed to be strong for everyone. So
Keep it together.
yeah.
Yeah. It's such a common thing I hear from teens and kids. Like sometimes the hardest people to talk to are the people we're the closest with day to day. And that talking to people maybe like teachers or a friend who's a little bit more removed, but we already have that kind of pattern of connecting emotionally is almost easier.
Hmm.
Is that a conversation that you hope to have with your dad someday?
Yeah, I hope to whenever I get older. I mean, it's almost been 3 years, but I mean, it's not still like fresh, but like it's still like a lot to take in. And I feel like I would give him more time if he's not ready. And then like for me, like I don't want to like sit there talking to him and then like he can't understand what I'm saying because I'm crying so much because I don't. As I want to like have like an actual like one-on-one conversation and be able to like communicate and connect and like get across like how I'm feeling, and I want him to do the same in return. So like I feel like we like kind of both need time to heal still.
So it sounds like if your dad's listening to this episode, a little more time.
Yeah. Just like maybe like a couple like a year or so, and we'll be good
We'll
at
check back
most.
into we'll check back in 2021.
Yes.
I've been thinking too, Chloe, that you had a lot more years in your mom's physical presence, and you have this younger sister, Olivia, who was really tiny when your mom died. And I'm curious, what role or responsibility do you feel like you have in terms of supporting her?
At first, like it was more of a big sister role, but over time, like I kind of feel like a motherly figure. My mom's mom, so my Grammy, she always like tells me like I'm such a like I'm a like she always yells at me because like Olivia does something and I tell her like how to fix it, and she's like, "You're such a motherly like figure over her," and I'm still like the big sister to her, but also I have like mother boundaries. I'm a little more strict than what a normal sister would be because like I'm looking out for her as like as her well being and stuff like that.
How about in helping her know your mom? Because she didn't get to have the same type of experience or make memories with your mom the way you did.
Well, I tell her stories. Like if she asks me to tell her, she's asked me several times to tell her stories about mom, and I like sat her down and we talk. I tell her stories and we'll talk about it. Like after my mom passed, we kind of like went through her things over time, we didn't do it like right off the bat, but like gradually over time we started like going through her things. And I got like her big jewelry box, and so like I kind of divided it with my little sister Olivia, and or like my mom loves scarves. I'd give Olivia the scarves, and I have a Polaroid camera, and there's like a bunch of Polaroid pictures I've had of like my mom and Olivia, and I like gave it to her, and she has like this like little book. For her, I can't really speak on her part, but I know it's not easy for her because like she has her days. Some days she's like perfectly okay, and some days she's upset. Sometimes I'll ask like sit her down, and I'll be like, "What's wrong?" 9 times out of 10, it's something to do with mom. Even though it could be like the slightest like difference in your attitude, like it's just because like she has like that empty hole. I try to like to talk to her the best I can about mom, and I try to make memories with her like that mom would make with me.
So kind of carry on those traditions with her. You know, it's interesting you mentioned that the tiniest little thing can sort of shine a spotlight on that, the missing of your mom. And with Mother's Day coming up, I'm curious, like how are all like the advertisements and like social media? It's just everywhere, right? Like Mother's Day, Mother's Day, Mother's Day. And what's that like for you? What feelings does that spark?
It's definitely like emotional. She's no longer here to celebrate the day with us. And whenever she first passed, like a bunch of people like always told me like she's spiritually married. And I feel like especially on Mother's Day, like I understand some people are very like spiritual, and they're like she's spiritually there, but it doesn't change the fact that she's not physically there. Me not being able to see like my mom on Mother's Day is very hard because it's just something that you grew up doing, and the one person that you're supposed to celebrate that day with, it's like her birthday. It's like the one person you're supposed to celebrate that day with is not there. So it's kind of like a false holiday.
Yeah, that day is there uniquely for this person in this role, and you don't have that person.
Yeah. And like there's like a bunch of stuff like I've had over the years like that like my mom has given to me, and like I'll set them out, cards or presents she would give to me like for my birthday. Like I still have like all the stuff, like most stuff that she's given to me. On Mother's Day sometimes like I wear like her jewelry or like the shoes that she got me, or a t-shirt or a sweater or something, to like feel as if she's there with me.
Chloe, what do you most wish your mom knew about your life right now? You mentioned that on Mother's Day you all awful will do like balloons and write messages, and just wondering like what do you imagine in this year, in this moment, you could tell her about your life?
Definitely how crazy it is right now, especially with work. I would just really like to tell her like I'm doing good, like in school, like I'm still keeping good grades and still doing my work, and that Olivia is still being her funny, crazy self. My mom has like these really big eyes, and my little sister hasn't. So like whenever she gets mad, her eyes like expand. I would like tell her like how crazy Olivia is and how much like her eyes look like her and how much she acts like her, because they're both outgoing. I'm outgoing, but like to an extent. Like I'll sing and dance up a grocery aisle as long as I'm not alone, but I will not do that by myself. Like I'll be too embarrassed. I'll even say that. Like I'll be too embarrassed to do that. Um hmm, I would also tell her like, because like this is like my actual first job I've had. I tell her like how my job's going. I got a car and it works. It's an old car, so I'm just grateful it gets me to point A to point B. And I have a journal that I write in, and so like most of the time, like especially like if something like crazy happened throughout my day, I like write down in my journal like my day, and I'll kind of like act like I'm talking to mom. So yeah.
I love the image of your little sister's eyes getting really big and reminding you of your mom
Yes.
when she would also have certain
Yes.
feelings.
Most definitely.
Well, Chloe, thank you for being part of the show and talking so much with me about your mom and about Mother's Day and just about what life feels like right now and about grief.
Oh, you're welcome. No problem. I like love doing this. I thought it was fun.
And listeners out there, we are really grateful for you. Thank you for being part of our audience and for tuning in and for emailing me at griefoutloud@dougie.org to let me know what the show means to you. That's how Chloe and her stepmom, Paige, got connected to the show. Paige reached out to me and said, here's our story, and we'd love to connect with you. So if you have a story you want to share, please email me. And if you are interested in being part of the Dougie Center, that's the organization that hosts this podcast, our annual fundraiser is coming up on Friday, May 8th. So just a few days from now. And we're doing it virtually, just like everybody else is doing everything virtually. So that means that you, whether you're tuning in from Japan or Alabama or Alaska, you can come to the event. It's the first time ever. So that's pretty exciting. So in the show notes, I'll put a link of how you can join us on May 8th for our virtual fundraiser. So thank you for listening, and we'll hope you'll join us again next time.